Hi, everybody. It's Michael Angelo Caruso. I'm here with a guy I've known, I think, maybe a decade now. I've lost track. How are you, Rosh Sillars?
Excellent. How are you doing, Michael?
Has it been a decade?
Oh, easily. Easily.
We met, I think, on the circuit here locally in Detroit. It was some sort of networking. I saw you at a million events. We got to know each
Sure.
other. I
Yeah.
first knew you as a photographer, and which you
Right?
still do, yeah?
Absolutely. I'm working for my studio right now. Yeah.
And you were asked to publish a book on the Canon Rebel, maybe two books.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've have four books out. My first book was 2010 when I combined the two areas that I was specialized in, obviously photography and social media, digital marketing. And I wrote a book with Lindsay Adler, who's a New York photographer. And it's called the online, excuse me. I did this the other day. I totally blanked out on the name of my first book. It's been 8 years, Link Photographer's Guide to Online Marketing and Social Media. And from there, I wrote a book called 1 Hour Photographer. And then from there, Wiley picked me up and we did a couple books on Canon cameras and how to take great pictures with them as digital field guides. So yeah,
Excellent.
4 books now. Yeah.
And it's interesting, too, how during your photography career, digital has come into being, not only digital photography, but also digital marketing.
Yeah.
And you've since applied yourself in a big way with podcasts. I don't know about podcasting so much, but blogging and certainly YouTube video marketing, yeah?
Yeah. You may be surprised to know, Michael, that I've been podcasting since 1999. And before there was a pod. I was actually just showing my daughter the other day the original links to the podcast on the front page of my website in 1999, and she couldn't believe it. And then I took a break because the technology wasn't really there. It was just Real Player was the system we used, and there's Real Producer, which would help create those. I guess they're like RAM files or something like that. Really weird, but there wasn't the RSS feeds that like working the way they do now, and so forth. And so I kind of gave it up, but between the time that I got back in and when I originally started, I had some friends who started podcasts and they were kind of saying, come on, Rosh, get back into it. And it was really podcasts that got me back into really starting to decide, I want to share some of this stuff with the general community and not just photographers. And so about 2007, started writing and podcasting again, blogging, and just kept going from there.
Well, you are so generous with your time and your expertise. I've learned a lot from you. And the reason we're doing this call today is because you were so kind to give me some time on YouTube marketing a few days ago, which I'm really grateful for. I saw some results almost immediately, and I thought, well, let's combine.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
1,000 mark.
Combine forces here and give people some more good content. So it's roshsillars.com, everybody. R-O-S-H is his first name. S as in Sam, I-L-L-A-R-S as in Sam.com. You can also find them all over social. We're going to cover some fairly technical things today, nothing beyond your comprehension, everybody. But we'll touch on all the main platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. But mostly it's going to be YouTube and video marketing today. The reason we touch on all at the same time, and I think Rosh comes from the same school of thought on this, is once you learn how to do something successfully on one platform, you can basically replicate it. It's like ice cream, right? Chocolate and vanilla. You can mix them and come up with Neapolitan.
Yes, right. On
this platform today, we're recording on Zoom, everybody, Z-O-O-M, and I'm creating 2 audio files at the same time. So I have at the end of this, we'll have a video file with this, what's called a 2-shot, meaning 2 people in the frame, split screen, Rosh and me. And I can, of course, market that video on YouTube, and Rosh and I will both be driving traffic to it. But Zoom will also create an audio file for me, an MP3.
Mm-hmm.
MP3 audio file that I can use on my blog, right? So when you go to my blog, you'll hear the audio version of this. And so Rosh and I are going to try to be cognizant of the fact that you're not seeing what we're talking about as we talk. So we'll try to give you some visual aids. You want to take notes here because we're going to be giving you websites and tips and keywords and stuff that you want to look up later. And it'll be hard for you to do this on a single screen. If you're watching the video, how are you going to look it up? If you happen to be watching the video and double tasking on another video screen, that's cool. I think that's a good way to learn, especially if your mind can do the gymnastics. So let's get started, Rosh. Let's talk about the state of affairs right now and we'll try to keep this as evergreen as possible.
Sure.
State of affairs with social. Let's just freely do a little free association here. Facebook is still a community type of thing. Very difficult to do business on Facebook, but it's an excellent place to keep up presence with that combination platter of the graphic, commentary, and links. Would you agree?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I mean, Facebook is about friends, family, associates, people who already like you, people who trust you already. And as any business person knows, who are the people that buy from you? The people that know you, like you, trust you. That's a common theme. And, it doesn't mean you're selling them all the time, but if you can, at least in my experience, if you can continue to educate people on what you do passively, and share some good information, anecdotes. Hey, this happened today. In other words, what you would say to a friend after you came home from work, your successes, and share that kind of stuff. That reminds them and keeps you top of mind of the people. Your cousin in Iowa is, oh yes, he's a photographer, and I know somebody who needs a photographer in Michigan or in California, and they're willing to fly him out. I mean, whatever it may be, or insurance or healthcare, whatever it may be, you have the opportunity to keep in front of people.
Friendly advice. This is the kind of tip you'd give somebody at the water cooler, or if you run into them you're in line at Chipotle.
Yeah, right.
And they mention a tip. This is the kind of stuff that happens on Facebook. Can we agree that if you're not paying for advertising on Facebook, you are probably not getting looked at? You're getting throttled is the name of the term.
Yes, that is the word, throttled, especially we're talking about our business pages. I mean, our obviously our individual accounts, that's where people are connecting with us. But yeah, when it comes to the business page, it's kind of like just an open for business sign.
Yeah, I think they're throttling on the personal pages. I haven't done a statistical study on it, but I'm real sure that my YouTube links are not showing up and not being seen by as many people when I post them into my personal Facebook page.
Yes, actually, that's 100% correct.
Okay.
The Facebook and YouTube are not fans of each other, to put it politely. And you will get no credit on YouTube for people who watch your YouTube video via Facebook. You are best to share, if you really want to get some traction, you are best to actually upload your videos natively if you want to keep Facebook happy. And you'll get a lot more traction in general from that. But if you put a YouTube link in there, they will immediately pull the plug and say, okay, well, maybe a couple people accidentally find you, but for the most part, dead in the water.
So for each of these platforms, we'll give you a tip or a valuable workaround before we're on our way to video marketing as the subject matter of this call. So the workaround, the problem is that if you post a YouTube video or if you're always shilling for your own website on your Facebook page, the Facebook algorithm will identify that you're selling too much or that you're taking people off the Facebook platform and moving them to YouTube, which is a no-no in Facebook's eyes.
Yeah, and quite honestly, Michael, that's the rule, should be the general rule for every single social platform. Their goal is to keep people on as long as possible. So if you're doing anything to remove them from the platform, whether it's YouTube or Twitter Twitter's a little more flexible, obviously, because of the type of platform it is, but Facebook, they want people to stay there. So
to your point, if you're promoting your Facebook page on LinkedIn, get ready for LinkedIn to throttle that down, dial it down, not let as many people see it. They want people to stay on LinkedIn. Right. And so the workaround, as Rosh pointed out, and it's a pain and it takes time, but it's doable, is what you've just updated your video to your YouTube channel. You want to upload the same video in another direction, in this case to Facebook, where it will compile all of the videos in an album titled video. And it's a crappy index. There's no titles, there's no description. If you go to the video on my page, for example, on my Facebook page, the video album, it just shows a bunch of thumbnails. It doesn't show what they're about or anything. So it's a useless way to do video, but that's Facebook's protection by saying, yeah, we'll show your video. It won't be efficient, but we'll show it.
Now there are a couple kind of hacks, workaround that I'm happy to share. One, of course, is use what people call a trailer. You're familiar with a movie trailer. Well, you can create a trailer for that video, especially if it's, say, maybe an hour-long video that you have on YouTube. It's something you think people would really be interested in. Well, give them some highlights, some points, and create a trailer. Upload that on Facebook and let them know the link is maybe in the comments, or you can do something such as I do. If people want to go to my YouTube, I just say, go to rosh.video. There you go. Rosh.video will take you there. And that way, now that's a verbal, someone watching the video, they can remember Rosh.video, and I can go on and they can come back to it later.
So is Rosh.video that's a cloaked URL that sends them to your YouTube page?
It's not necessarily cloaked, but it's automatic. It redirects people. Okay. So I purchased that. I have that, Rosh.media. I have a pricing channel, and I have price.photography.
So that's clever. Listen to Rosh is saying now. The algorithm, which by the way may be sophisticated enough not only to see the character recognition that you're posting a YouTube URL, but it also may have, we think, in the graphics section of the post, what's that called? Optical recognition, OCR?
Sure. Yeah, it recognizes words and faces. And
so even if you had an avatar that said your YouTube page, it would see it there too.
Right.
But it's not set up to defend against Rosh.video. That's very clever, Rosh.
Especially, if it was, you could cloak it to make it a little bit easier for, Facebook not to know. But even just the verbal during the video, say, hey, and catch me over at Rosh.video or, Michael.video, whatever it is. You just send them to where, in other words, make it really easy, especially when you have complex URLs. Make it even easier for people. We have a whole suite of top-level domains now available to us, a whole new landscape of them, and you can find one that's right for you that'll make your, your target audience remember who you are.
I just need a cool name like Rosh, man. My name is Michael Angelo Caruso. It takes up the whole thing.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Thank you. Let's talk about LinkedIn. We'll give a State of the Union, a tip, a workaround, and work through our formula here.
Sure.
So the brief summary from my point of view, LinkedIn is not about photos. You can certainly post photos to LinkedIn, but there's only one photo on LinkedIn, baby, and that's your headshot. LinkedIn is a professional platform. There's not a lot of time for bling and stuff. There's not a lot of tolerance for shenanigans on LinkedIn. To my mind, a lot of the profiles tend to be more real and authentic, like real people, versus say Facebook, where you're meeting all kinds of exotic friends. How about a tip for LinkedIn, Rosh? Something that you use it for that maybe the average person wouldn't know about?
Well, I think video is going to be very powerful on LinkedIn. And let me tell you something. I do these YouTube videos, but the best result of doing these videos so far has been sharing them on LinkedIn and uploading and even doing a live, because more of the people who follow me on LinkedIn, I'm very particular about the people I connect with LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn means business, right?
Go ahead. Pardon?
LinkedIn means business.
Absolutely. And LinkedIn is the business community more so than the friends and family on Facebook. And the ability to share these videos locally, more and more people, when I go to a networking event, say, hey, I like watching your videos on LinkedIn or your YouTube. A lot of people don't even realize it's from a YouTube channel or that I'm posting to, they just appreciate seeing what I'm doing on a regular basis. So just because a lot of my business contacts are on LinkedIn, and that may be the case for you too, I'm finding a really nice return, at least on my awareness in the community.
So let's zoom out for just a second.
Sure.
And give some magic numbers. Magic numbers are like status numbers, frequent flyer numbers, if you want to think of it that way. You're a player on Facebook. I would think anything over 3,000 friends. You're capped out, of course, at 5,000 on your personal page.
Right.
The magic number on LinkedIn, as I understand it, is still 500. Is that true?
Yes, that's the point in which I believe you become 500 or 1,000, which you become. I know it is 500, in which they just say, "Okay, you're a pro," So,
yeah. But what are any benefits that you get for 500, or is it just a status symbol?
I think it's more of a status symbol than anything. Yeah. Okay,
very good. Now we're still telescoped up on LinkedIn. We said earlier that posting video from another platform like YouTube, to LinkedIn is a no-no, but then you said post a lot of video to LinkedIn.
Yeah, right. And I do because it doesn't have as much, really, it's the Facebook, YouTube war. And let's call me posting to LinkedIn laziness. Okay. But what I do is also I promote those videos with a native LinkedIn video. Now, LinkedIn does not go live at this point. I'm sure it will soon. But you can upload from your cell phone. You can take your cell phone and just do a video and immediately upload to LinkedIn. And that's a good way to go and good way to connect with people.
Okay, so I didn't know that. I know that, and I'm cross-referencing some of our points in real time here, so making sure that we're up to date on all of our tips.
Yeah.
You're correct. There is no place to do video. There's a place here where you can add.
You can upload a video on desktop, but you can't just record a video and upload. You can't just record a video and upload from your desktop. You have to do that on your phone.
How long is that video camera icon for the upload from the desktop been there?
I think it's about maybe 6 months that it's relatively new, maybe even newer than that.
So can we assume that an upload from the desktop is not going to be as throttled as a YouTube URL?
Oh yeah, I mean, an upload from the desktop absolutely is fine. That's just fine to LinkedIn, and of course that native video from the app is always also going to be shared quite a bit.
The problem on LinkedIn is that it's not stored anywhere, right? It's a one-time upload. It's going to disappear as the timeline.
Well, yeah. I mean, good point on that. A lot of things do disappear over time on LinkedIn. But
the reason that's important, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
When you're posting, you do like one and done on LinkedIn, but if you're uploading video one time to be seen in that moment, and then it's going to disappear down the timeline.
Right.
It's not an efficient use of anybody's time, even if you're paying somebody to do it.
Well, the algorithm is going to keep showing your video to people who follow you. For example, if there's an algorithm there, just like there is on Facebook and Twitter and so forth. So the people that you regularly look at. So in other words, you're all over my LinkedIn, Michael. I mean, the fact is because I look at your stuff.
What are you saying? Too much?
No, not at all. But because I look at your stuff, it comes up and LinkedIn shows it to me. So, I mean, the fact is that there is a little bit longer timeline, just like in any of the other platforms. But I usually create these videos to direct people to various things, and I also share some comments and ideas too. I don't just make it a sales pitch to go over to another location. I say, this is what I'm talking about over here if you want more information, but let's talk a little bit about it right now, just kind of wet their whistle, what could be, and what if they're really interested in this topic, there is more information for them.
So you make an interesting point that about me being on your LinkedIn all the time, and it bears mentioning. I love you do a little, you did a YouTube card. It's called a card, everybody. You drop it in like a thumbnail right before the video starts, and your card says, "Don't hate marketing," and you're like making a mistake. And we all bump up against this. The reason, everybody, that I'm in Rosh's LinkedIn feed all the time is because I'm posting all the time to LinkedIn.
That's true. But there are other people who are posting all the time to LinkedIn that I'm not seeing.
Because you don't click on it?
Because I don't stop and look at it very often. So if there's somebody else, I mean, think of all the people that we all follow on LinkedIn or are connected with on LinkedIn, there's only so much room and you only go down so far. So LinkedIn's more apt to show the people that you've shown interest in the past. So it is important, you talked about that card. When you have the opportunity to put a card up, something custom to get people's attention, that's extremely valuable. And certainly we'll talk a little more about that when we get into YouTube.
Sure. So I'm going to show everybody LinkedIn and this workaround for video. So this is the LinkedIn. Rosh, can you see this okay?
Yeah, little glare.
The LinkedIn page on the phone. Remember we said that you want to upload the video directly to LinkedIn, but you can't do that on the desktop application. You have to do it from the phone. So
you can't record. You could record, like take this video and then upload it, but you couldn't just record and go directly to. You'd have to record on desktop, put it on your desktop, and then upload it.
So what we're saying, I think, is the same thing. There are advantages to recording the video directly to LinkedIn from your phone.
Yes, I think there is.
And here's how you do it. So there's the there's the video camera there. And that means that when you click that, it's going to give you a chance to see that frame in the middle there. Whoops. And when you press that, it'll open up the camera just like it does any other time for you to do a video. So now you're doing your video, right? And when you click done, that's going to upload directly to LinkedIn.
Right.
And that's the closest thing that LinkedIn has to a live application right now.
Well, yeah, but I think that's coming. I mean, the live is big in 2018.
Oh, they all copy each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's check LinkedIn off the box. Let's go to Twitter, one of my new favorites. I love Twitter because it's unfiltered, man. I heard somebody say one time that Twitter is the smoking section of social media.
I love it.
The way it is. I just posted something that was obliquely political on my Facebook page, and everybody goes nuts. On Twitter, that's their sandbox, politics. And I still advise staying away from politics because it can be incendiary. But Twitter seems to have a higher tolerance, to my mind, maybe it's just my following, for a lot of stuff. Acerbic humor, rough language, free speech. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on who you follow. I mean, your feed, if you don't like what you see in Facebook, Twitter, especially Twitter, fire the editor. I mean, which is you. I mean, you are seeing based in that feed the things that the topics and people that you are most interested in. I've always looked at it as the people's AP wire. It's a place you follow people that have information that you are interested in. You share information that you feel other people may be interested in. It's very keyword sensitive or topic sensitive. In other words, you want people to follow you, certain type of person to follow you. If you're looking for a certain type of a lead, then you need to share information that person would be most interested in, and just truly understand their persona and build your Twitter profile around that. And you'll gain those types of people following you.
The reference AP wire is Associated Press. It's an old journalism term coming from the photographer who probably did some work in the media.
Yes, sir.
The magic number on Twitter for status.
1,000? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think the big status thing on Twitter is having your little check mark next to your name. And I've seen people with as few as 500 followers, but they're usually people in the media, maybe a small town anchor or somebody like that has 500 people follow them.
Yeah,
that's the big status element there, and so it's I have a lot of followers there, but I've been on Twitter since summer of 2007. And I've been posting since then, so it has been a favorite. But Twitter has literally taken me around the world. Twitter has helped me with my book deals. Twitter has helped me with connections that I would never have gotten from my home in Detroit. So,
what was a quick story about a Twitter get that got you? I think you got a gig somewhere in a country.
Yeah.
A tweet.
Absolutely. So I was looking on Twitter one evening, and I noticed that there was some new updates and features, and I started looking at who started following me, and I noticed that one of the people following me, book speakers, was looking to book speakers. They only had 8 people following them in connections, and they said that, hey, we're looking for speakers in Australia, and so I just said, well, let me follow up with them. And he's just a new follow. I said, hey, if there's anything I can do for the people of Australia, you just let me know. 5 minutes later, he responded, you would come to Australia? All right, well, let me look at my bucket list. Yes, that is on the list. I would be more than happy to come to Australia and speak.
Was this a paid gig?
It was a paid gig, paid airfare, paid everything, just right down the line. So it was,
man, Twitter is the bomb. That kind of stuff does not happen on Facebook.
No. I mean, not in the same way, unless you know somebody, obviously. This was somebody I didn't know who just started following me. And so it was somebody, it turns out, who the reason for the excitement, they had read my book, the Social Media for Photographers book. So that was helpful, obviously. Right. And obviously I was on his target list as a possibility to maybe get, connect. He was just doing his research, but by being aware and keep an eye out for opportunities, that came to pass.
It's fabulous.
And my first book deal kind of came from a connection that I made on Twitter. I went to speak at the Javits Center in New York. And so one of the people that I had connected with there, she was very enthusiastic, said, hey, I want to see you speak. I want to meet with you. And we did. And I interviewed her. And on the podcast, she just had so much energy. And it turned out to be Lindsay Adler, who's just a rock star in the photography world now, but nobody knew of her back then. And we wrote that first book together based on that collaboration. So it's amazing the power of Twitter if you don't just automate it all. Just
to catch up with ourselves, the blue check mark that Rosh talked about is a certified or what they call verified account on Twitter. It is not an easy credential to get. It's based a lot on celebrity status. You have to have done something nobody else on the planet has done. If you're run-of-the-mill person, they just yawn and they say you're not verifiable, right?
I guess. I don't know, because they gave me one and I have no idea why. So.
Well, you did the Canon books, man. The Canon Rebel. You're the king. Also, as for the number of followers that you have that makes you, noteworthy. If you've got more than other people that are looking at your account, then you're the bomb.
There you go.
There's a real status there to how many people are following you.
Sure.
And so try to get that number up as high as you can.
Yeah. I think a lot of these, it's 1,000, your first number for any of these platforms, 100 is your hardest, then 1,000, 10,000, 100 and so forth. I mean, those are the big milestones.
Great. Let's talk Instagram. I'm least familiar with Instagram, but I have a quick opening anecdote.
Sure.
I was watching Gary Vee interview Tony Robbins. It was a fascinating interview for a number of reasons. First, they're both titans in the industry.
Yes.
The second reason I really enjoyed was Tony seemed so uncomfortable because, Gary Vee is like this live wire and he works blue and, the F-bomb's coming at any time here. And that's not exactly Robbins' stripe.
Right.
He is known to curse.
Yes.
But no one is known to curse with the fluency
of Gary Vee, yes.
So it was kind of fun watching them play off of each other. But the third reason it was fascinating was that Tony Robbins' social guy was in the studio. And Gary Vee went rogue on Tony and said, Tony, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I want to talk to your social media guy because he's going to tell me some answers to the questions I want to know. And he got the guy on camera and he said, what would you like your boss, meaning Tony Robbins, to do on social that he's not doing? What would pay a big dividend? And the guy, without hesitation, he said, Instagram stories.
Ah, yes.
Which I have no experience with. Can you tell us why Instagram stories might be valuable?
Well, first of all, they're right at the top of the screen, but stories are kind of the behind-the-scenes element that is really how people are using it. You have them on Facebook, and you actually have them on YouTube, too. They're called Reels. They're not available yet, but they're coming down the line and should be – they're available to people who have over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And basically, people are using them behind the scenes, keeping it real, kind of real back to basic social media, not so highly polished stuff. And – people appreciate them. It comes from Snapchat, the whole idea of, here, share the story, that immediacy of, look, it's only going to be available for a short period of time. Periscope was the same thing, gone in 24 hours. Your video's gone. I mean, that's how a lot of these platforms are working. And stories are the same thing. There's this immediacy. Either you watch it now or never watch it because it's going to be gone.
So stories as powerful on Facebook as they are on Instagram?
No, they're trying. But it's not, the success hasn't really been there.
So if you're taking notes at home, everybody, and I know this is a lot of information, but the thing is, if you just want to do one thing different, one thing better on each platform, take our advice today. If you're on Instagram, you want to be doing stories because they're getting a lot of pull, and that comes straight from Tony Robbins' social media guy.
Right, absolutely.
By the way, all of these tips that we're giving you, they're all time sensitive, right? Because none of them are good forever. They're just good right now.
Oh my goodness! The first book I wrote was obsolete 5 days after I wrote it. This stuff is always changing.
Okay, so those are the big four, I think, in social media. Let's talk YouTube, which is really what I'm excited about right now.
Yeah,
video has such power to inform, persuade, even sell. And so many people need help with this because I think to a great extent, video is the most complicated of all platforms. I was getting ready to do a podcast with somebody recently, and we spent 10 minutes just on audio. And it was stuff that he was unaware of, So Let's talk about best practices for marketing on YouTube and making sure that if you're bothering to have a channel and bothering to post video, that you're really going to get some traction. We didn't prep very carefully for this call, but you're so good at this, and I have some things I can contribute. Can we give people 3 or 4 golden tips for making the most of YouTube?
Sure. Obviously, you kind of hit on it with video. The most important part of video is audio. Your video could be a little scrambled, but if they can't hear you, they're going to turn the video off. And that's a very important thing. You know, when it comes to what YouTube, just like we mentioned earlier, cares most about is people staying on the platform as long as possible. And so the better you are at keeping people on your video or videos, such as a series of videos, the better off you're going to be, and the more YouTube will promote your videos within search as well as in their suggested videos.
I love it. So we'll do a little tennis match here. You hit the ball back to me, I'll hit it back to you. So the first tip is if you want better video, improve your audio. That's from Rosh.
Yes. My
tip now is on video. Although audio is certainly important, you must have the right kind of appeal. And I'll say visceral appeal with your video. It sounds redundant. Visceral video, of course. But for example, before they ever start watching the quality of the video, you can't even tell if it's high res or low res in the thumbnail, but you can tell how long the darn thing is. And if your video is longer than 2 minutes, depending on your arena now, the longer the video, the fewer clicks you're going to get. And that's just a time management thing that everybody has a little thermostat in their head. 2 minutes seems to be still a sweet spot for getting people to click on something. Do we agree on this, Rosh?
No.
Oh, look at the time. I got to go. What do you know?
YouTube wants longer videos and rewards them. Remember, who's going to promote them? YouTube. And YouTube will put the right videos in front of the right people. So there are people who only like 2-minute videos. 60-minute
videos all the time and expect to get a lot of
it depends. It depends. You know, some of the sweet spots are really between 5 and 12 minutes. 7 and 12 minutes actually is kind of the sweet spot on YouTube. You know, it's kind of, let me go back to your idea is that, you know, like, for example, blog posts, people say, well, we don't have time to read, so I'm just going to create really short, you know, just easy to digest blog posts, but they don't go anywhere.
No.
The thing is, people share the long blog posts, whether they read them all or not.
Yeah.
And in the longer videos, look, some of my, back to your point, a couple of my best videos that are shared the most are the couple shorter videos. So, you know, I'm not suggesting they are not shared. It really has to do with, one, you know, how long did people watch them? Were they really engaged with those videos? And then did they continue on YouTube? And that's quite often why those are promoted more. But yeah, go ahead.
This is a nice lead into once you get your audio and your video quality sorted out. You and I were talking the other day about 3 places that you want to put keywords, because again, there's like this push-pull thing happening in marketing. People can happen upon your things by accident. By the way, it's not an accident. It's based on keyword and SEO and all this stuff. Or maybe you push them toward it. You just said, go watch this link and here's what's in it. Either way, whether it's push or pull, they're going to get to that video. And there are ways to dress it from a marketing standpoint. Mm-hmm. You mentioned 3 key places that you must have keywords. Can we talk about that as one?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, you know, in your conversation, obviously talking, YouTube transcribes your video. So your keywords, especially near the beginning of your video, is helpful, not only for YouTube, but for the viewer, to make sure what they clicked on is what they're getting. 2, obviously your description is very helpful, and there are tags that are important to put keywords in. And don't think of them so much as ranking factors as guides for YouTube, where you're recommending that YouTube place your video and for what types of searches. And then from there, the algorithm down the road will either continue to promote it or not, that video. The nice thing about YouTube is that you can have a video that lay dormant for 2 years and then pop, you know, out of nowhere. That's the great thing about YouTube versus, say, a Facebook, Instagram, and so forth, is that there's longevity. for your videos, and you had like a blog, people can discover you 2 years down the road with valuable information. But let me share this one thing, and that I think is probably the most important thing that people need to consider when creating YouTube is the thumbnail. The thumbnail is probably the most important thing, and your keyword can be in there to get their attention, but ultimately it's get their attention and make it something very clickable, as well as your headline. Your headline needs to be really clickable. In other words, get the attention of that viewer to click it, but your keyword being in there is really important. So between those two, they need to play off each other. They don't have to say this exact same thing. You can say another version of your headline in the thumbnail, but having the keyword is helpful, but ultimately make it exciting.
So let's rewind a little bit on this. The three places that we're suggesting are the subject of the video. Like say your keyword, and it doesn't have to be one keyword, you're better off using long tail on occasion.
Especially smaller channels. Yeah.
Sorry?
Especially smaller channels.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's say your keyword's tractor. So you want to make sure the word tractor is in the subject line of the video. You want to make sure tractor is in the description of the video. And you want to make sure tractor is a tag or a keyword in the video.
And that you mentioned
as part of the SEO process.
Yeah, and that you mentioned tractor near the beginning of your video.
Okay, let's answer a question about transcription that a lot of people are curious about. It used to be that you'd mechanize and arrange your own transcription, and I think you can still do that on YouTube.
You can, yes, and it's still recommended because YouTube doesn't get it all right, but they're getting much, much better.
Okay, but it's not. Would you say it's not as important as it used to be to do your manual transcription because they're doing it behind the scenes and it's getting better all the time?
Yes, but I mean, there are. Let me preface by saying that there are people who would disagree with that statement. There are people who would feel, look, you really still need to upload your own, but that's going to cost you a few bucks each time to do that. So if you're uploading a lot, look, if you have a hero video once a month and you want to get it transcribed, you can do it, for $5-10 various places, and that might be a good idea. But if you're doing daily vlogging, no, don't worry about it.
Okay, and then just to do a wraparound for everybody on the thumbnail, the current status quo on YouTube is that they'll give you a choice of 3 thumbnails. So you choose the one with your eyes are open, right?
Yep.
But what Rosh is suggesting is you drop in what's called a card, a title card, is it?
Yeah. Yep.
Which is also known as a surrogate thumbnail.
Yeah.
And you can go to Rosh Sillars on YouTube to see how he does that, because he's a master at creating these cards. They have all kinds of color and they make them look like it's a cross between a superhero and a cartoon. It's very animated, much more lifelike than you are in person, I might add.
Thank you. It's true.
But that's the whole idea, right? Is to make him pop.
Yeah. Right.
Because a photo of Rosh doing this is going to be more clickable than a photo of Rosh doing this.
Right.
And the same thing is true for me and you and everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's the value of the title cards. We're running out of time. RoshSillars.com, everybody. Let's close with another tip that will help everybody, and we'll do the tennis thing again. I'll give my version, you give yours.
Sure.
I've been using a platform called Meet Edgar, MEETEDGAR.
Okay.
To post, to schedule social media posts, and it's pretty sophisticated. You can stagger, you can dictate which platform, you can get granular on this.
Mm-hmm.
So that it looks like I'm everywhere all the time. It's one of my secrets for being in Rosh's LinkedIn feed all the time. Now, there is a little crumb that Meet Edgar leaves. It'll say posted by Meet Edgar, so it's an automated post.
Right.
But I've been having fun with Meet Edgar because I have Meet Edgar do all my staid, evergreen stuff. Mm-hmm. But then if something's happening in the news, I season my mix with an organic post.
Sure.
Something that only I could have done, because guess what? It just happened 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Some event or something.
Yeah.
Do you use such a platform? And if so, which one do you recommend?
Sure. Well, I've used Buffer and Hootsuite. I've used Hootsuite for years. And here's, let me just expand on this whole concept of automation. One of the reasons why Twitter is not as engaging, it's becoming more engaging in the last couple of years for obvious reasons. It's getting more press and people are more involved with it. As you've talked about, they've had more conversations. But Twitter was really dying off for so long because everybody was automating everything. Hey, I have this great thing. I'm going to automate it, send it to Twitter. And of course, everybody who follows me is going to want to see that. No, they just automated their thing back at you. So you have robots talking to each other.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that, look, it's okay to automate. In other words, time management, really important. Social media can be a big time suck, but it also can have great benefits. My recommendation is make sure that you take the time to actually go to Twitter and to take time to go to LinkedIn and actually engage with other people's stuff so they know you are there and that you actually care and you're a real person rather than a bunch of automation. And I've been doing more and more of that, especially on Twitter. And another thing that I've been doing is I've actually, on Twitter specifically, if someone shares my stuff, I haven't done this to you yet, Michael, but it's coming. Don't worry.
Did you say to me or with me?
To you.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to you. When you share something of mine, I actually will respond to you with a video. And people have been very positive in that response, saying not only he didn't just like it, he sent me a video saying thank you. And sometimes I'll even go a little deeper. Hey, I took a look at some of your work. Hey, good luck. Keep doing this. Something that's personal. And let me tell you, the connections are building strongly. I've had some people that I've done this to are really high profile people just follow me. They have 1 million followers and they follow 2,000. And now I'm one of those 2,000.
That is an excellent technique. So let's dress this another direction and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
Facebook protocol, you would not be allowed to shill on somebody else's page, especially their business page, but definitely not their personal page without permission. Right. So, for example, I'm selling my new Work Hacks book. I would never, ever post on your personal page an ad for my Work Hacks book.
Right.
I wouldn't even promote myself in any way on your page. It's not a good form, as we say.
Right.
But if it was your birthday today, I might record a video and post it directly to your page. This is your idea now. Yep. Saying, happy birthday. I'm so glad to be part of your airspace and hope to see you someday on the speaking circuit. So I'll obliquely reference why we're connected.
Yep.
And in doing so, I can very softly and very professionally piggyback your audience. Yes?
Yes, you could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
I do it all the time because it smells bad after a while.
Right.
I mean, Ross's birthday.
But even on Twitter, you don't want to keep going back and forth with video or any of the other platforms. But the more we do this, look, video is going to become more a part of our lives in social. It's good to start practicing. Understanding live is really important. Live is going to be a big part. Marketers are stepping that up, and I recommend you do too. Not you specifically, Michael, but live in general. And then influencers, understanding the value of influencers and connecting with other people, maybe within your range, and work together and collaborate, just like you and I are doing, Michael.
You bet. Hey, I enjoy our relationship so much. If you'd like to be part of this community where we help people get better and better and better, simply share this video to your own timeline on whatever platform you're on. And if you want to call attention to certain people that you know that might be interested in it, you can tag them in comments and then they'll be notified directly, right? So it's even a faster way to get the right content to the right people.
Yeah.
Rosh Sillars, I'm proud of you. You're doing so great. And thank you so much for being in my airspace. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on your show. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. RoshSillars.com, everybody. I'll put the link and other helpful information in the comments of this video later on. Thanks, Rosh.
Thank you.